Hi, I'm Bill with Journey Beyond Overland. Today, Suparee sent us a set of lights. We're going to check these out and see what we've got. Let's get this box opened up. Nicely packaged. The box is wrapped up well as well. Got a set of Suparee Hyper 5s. Very nice packaging, nice wiring instructions. All right, it says we've got a set of 5-inch LED, amber and white, 3000K DRL, 6500K main light. Comes with a wiring harness. Let's take a look and see what they look like. Looks like we've got some covers for the lights themselves, both amber and then to black them out. Some areas require the lights to be covered. There's the lights. They feel very substantial, got a nice weight to them. And I believe where we're going to put these will be on our JK right behind me here. Put them on the bumper and use them for side kicker lights. All right, I like what I see. The first thing I want to do is put the brackets in the location where we want to put the lights. So I'm looking at mounting these lights, and this approximate location right here, about that angle. We've got other off-road lights facing forward. So I just need to make sure that I put them in a place that we can drill and get to with the wrench. So the first thing I want to do is decide where I'm putting my bracket. Again, feeling underneath to see where I'm good with any obstructions from underneath. Double check with the light again. I think that'll do. So I have a blue pencil I'm going to mark with. I'll place this one and get it mounted, and then I'll do measurements to make sure we get the other one in that same location. All right, in the next step, I want to mark the hole, the center punch, to make sure that our drill bit won't drift once we start to drill. All right, so I'm going to drill the first hole with a smaller bit to make a pilot hole for the larger. All right, we got that. And finally, the actual bit that's the size of the bolt that we're going to mount the bracket with. All right, then next I want to set these brackets on there and get them tightened down. One thing I like to do though before we do that is always touch up the paint after we do a drill like that. Touch up the bare metal to prevent the rust. So in my case, any kind of just black touch-up paint will do on a black steel bumper like this. Just like that. All right, then after you set the bracket down through with the bolt, just take a 14mm wrench and get her snugged down. I like to use a ratchet wrench. It's a lot easier when you can't see what you're doing on the other side like that. All right, there's the bracket. And next, I'm going to set the light down into the bracket and install the included hardware. It's all stainless. You got flat washers and lock washers. So we got 4 of those to put in. Also then be how we adjust the angle of the light up and down. I'll go ahead and snug them down all the way for now until we can get them out at night and actually adjust them up properly. All right, so next I'm going to do the same on this side as what I did on the driver's side. And I won't bore you with all that because it's exactly the same thing. We're just going to mark it, peen it, drill it, mount it with the hardware. And once I'm done with that, we'll meet up and do the wiring. I'll show you what we're going to do with that. All right, now that I've got both the lights mounted on the bumpers, I've got them pointed out as ditch lights so we can see off the side. We've already got plenty of light facing forward. I'm going to hook up the wiring harness. The wiring harness is good quality stuff, good weather type plugs. And it also comes, you know, with a relay box and switch to run into your dash and fusing. I don't need all of that because I have an auxiliary switch system already in this Jeep. So what I'm going to do to utilize this good harness without redoing all the wiring myself is that I'm going to cut the harness right here, terminate it, and leave this stuff off. Maybe save it for another project someday, but it won't be necessary on this one. I'm going to leave this a little bit on there in case I want to use this for some other project. It'll be there, but I'm going to snip it right there. And really, the installation's super simple then, since I already have the switches on the dashboard. All I really need to do is plug them in, and run the wires up to my aux box, and plug them in there, and it'll be done. All right, first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to run my wire down through behind the winch, drop down to the floor, where it Y's off. So you can go to each of the lights. And then I will run each of them over to the plugs on the backs of the lights. Roughly like so for the start of things. And since we're always running through a lot of water and grit and grime all the time, I like to take just a little bit of dielectric grease and just put in on the plugs as well. They are watertight. I just like that little bit of extra protection. Because these will actually go underwater from time to time if you've watched our videos. It's just kind of the way we roll. It's how the fun trails are. Okay, I got a good solid click right there. So we've got that one plugged in. Route that behind the grill. We'll go over and do the other side. Just like that. All right, and then I'm going to go down underneath and run the wiring up through and find a good clean route where we're not going to be rubbing on anything. Don't want any chaffing. Don't want anything hot rubbing the wiring. Got to be careful, you know, not to have anything shorting out. That's what the fuse is for, but you still don't want that happening. So I like to use what I call a fish stick. It's got a flexible tip that you can put on the end with a fiberglass pull on it. And I will take and just tape this to the end, and I'll just fish her up through so I can go up top and get a hold of it and just pull it. Makes for a lot easier day. Then I don't have to ask the wife to come out and help me from the top side. I can just do it myself. There it is. Now I can just pull it right on up, like so. And the next thing will be to route from here to the auxiliary box. And we'll have a little excess, maybe. I'm actually going to hook up on the other side, so we'll need some of that. Right around to there. Now, we actually built this auxiliary box ourselves off of Amazon many years ago, and it's worked great. Wouldn't recommend it because you spend more money doing that than if you just buy one ready-made, but hey, we had fun doing it. My son and I did it together. We just used 2-wire plugs to plug everything in. So I'm going to have to put a 2-wire plug onto here and just plug it into the auxiliary box and we'll be good to roll. All right, I'm going to leave a little extra. Just for good measure. So I'll snip off my excess. And then I will have to splice and hook these in. Now there also are DRLs on here. We'll get to that in a minute. Those will not hook up directly in the aux box. They'll hook up onto a keyed wire for when they'll kick on with the key while you're running, shut off automatically. We're going to need to take our red and our black, our hot and our positive, hook them to my 2-wire trailer plug, red and black, so that I can plug it into the auxiliary switch system. So we'll get these stripped and get them hooked up. See what we've got going on. All right, lastly the black. Feels secure. And then the next step, I like to shrink those connections down with a heat gun. Sealed up from any moisture, anything that will cause corrosion. All right, that should do that. All right, let me kick on the lights and see what we've got. I see light from here. There we go, that's what I'm talking about. Now we'll light up the ditch, the sides of the trail, clear back into the woods on both sides, and we can run our center lights for looking straight ahead. Pretty sharp. I think I'm liking these Hyper 5s. All right, and finally, I'm just gonna hook up the DRLs. I'm gonna go for amber. I have amber on my center lights, so I wanted to match up to them. Ordinarily, the yellow wire will be amber, the white, of course, would be white. Don't know that for a fact. It doesn't really say on the directions when I cut the wiring harness. Of course, then the wires are exposed rather than just plugging them in, but I'm going to do a little experimentation. We'll get the wires all set to where I can test it out, and we'll see. So next I'm just going to strip the yellow wire back so I can expose some wire. And then I'll end up doing the same on my accessory wire that I'm going to hook into. And that way I can touch these two and see for sure that I have the amber that I'm looking for. And you can find an accessory wire generally in your fuse plug. Oftentimes we'll use, say, the cigarette lighter because it goes on and off with the key. All right, I'm going to kick on the key and see if we have ambers. Yes, we do. They look pretty sharp. Look at that. So ambers on both sides and in the center. That's how we'll run in the daytime then. So now we can go ahead and put the wiring permanently together. Another nice feature are the covers that come with it. You can black it out, cover it like so, or you can switch to an amber lens, like so. So it's the best of all three worlds, especially if you are in a state or municipality where they require you to cover your off-road lights. You can cover them. The black will also protect them, you know, from rock and debris, and then you've also got the amber option. So like in this situation where I have them set at an angle for side shot lights or ditch lights, say I want to turn left on this trail, you just look over, I can see that trail before I turn the vehicle and get the headlights and all the other off-road lights pointed that direction. It's super handy. Now these lights, of course, you can mount straight ahead. I went ahead and mounted them because I wanted to have more of a pattern, because I already have off-road lights pointing forward. Because they do have side lights already mounted, so you can see the wraparound when I got them mounted clear back right outside my driver's window. I can just look out and see. But the main beam, of course, is going right out there. If you're going to go that direction, turn onto the trail. So they have a fan pattern of their own. But in this case, we're using those ditch lights rather than straight ahead because we have other straight aheads on here as well already. So in closing, what do I think of these lights? Suparee Hyper 5s are a higher level light. We've had some of their more budget-friendly line, and they do fine. Over time, you know, they start to show the wear and tear. I think these will be a little more durable and last a lot longer. They have a lot more styling. The brackets are nicer looking. Everything's just a clean and tidier finish. I am using these as ditch lights, so you see that they're on an angle. It works great when you're rolling up a trail and you want to make a 90-degree turn onto a trail. It'll light that up before you even turn the vehicle and make the headlights turn. So it's great for that. Searching for campsites. It's so dark when you're going down the trail. Is that one? Is there a fire ring? Well, you can tell when these are on. And if you use these as a straight ahead light, they still do have ditch lights here. They're just not as bright, and I wanted to go ahead and get a little more light off the side because I already have off-road lights pointing forward anyhow. So far, trying these lights out, I'm super happy. I love the styling, I love the finish. It's a great looking light, it puts out lots of light. So I would check them out.
Thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in these lights, make sure to check out the link in the description. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button. And if you'd like to see some adventures these are going on, make sure to come back over to Journey Beyond Overland and check out our library of adventures. But until we see you again, go out and find your own adventure.